All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Day December 2022, Day 5. Like I said in my last video, I'm not going to be doing a cover every day. It was just not something that I'm physically capable of doing. Nor was it something that my brain was going to let me do. So, still going to be singing, not singing today. And for those of you wondering, I am feeling a little bit better from yesterday. Had a pretty good therapy session with my therapist today, so I'm starting to do a little bit better. Still can't eat a whole lot, which sucks, but it's my life. So, today, because I need to get a video out and I have no idea what to do, and this is the other thing that makes doing covers really hard, is you actually have to plan them ahead of time, because you have to rehearse and all that stuff. And, yeah, on days like today where I had no clue what I was going to do until about 5 minutes ago, you can't do that with a cover. You just can't go, what am I going to cover today? Let's just choose a random song and start singing. Nope, doesn't work that way. So, one benefit to this. So, in the before times of 2013, there was an internet show that changed the world. For those of you that don't know, Penny Arcade, is a webcomic that started in, I want to say like late 90s, early 2000s, and has become a media empire. If you've ever heard of PAX, there are many of them now. PAX stands for Penny Arcade Expo. Years ago, well over a decade now, Penny Arcade decided that they didn't like the conventions that existed, and they thought that they could do it better, so they did. And that's where PAX came from. The first one was Seattle. PAX Prime is still done in Seattle, but they have now PAX. I don't think it's even called PAX Prime anymore. I think it's called, is it PAX West now? Because you have PAX East, you have PAX Unplugged, you have PAX Australia. They had another one that they stopped doing. I think it was PAX South that they stopped doing in, I think it was in Texas. I don't know. Anyway, so that's Penny Arcade. Way back in the before times, they actually had a TV series as well. It was a web series where it was basically, it would show kind of the goings on at the Penny Arcade offices, which was bizarre and crazy. And they eventually leveraged that into making a reality TV show called Strip Search. I get it's a provocative name. Let's call it that. That was the point. But what it was it was a reality TV show, a la, Last Comic Standing, or things like that, where like they're looking for the next great webcomic artist. And so they brought together, I think, like 12 or 13 artists from across the country, all put them in a house, and their intention was to, again, was to have like a, Hell's Kitchen style thing where they would, do, they would do challenges, and the challenges would sometimes give them prizes, but other times they would have to choose who was going to go to the elimination round. And the elimination round, they would actually take these two people, and they would have them each draw a topic from a trash can, effectively. And then they would have an hour and a half to create a webcomic from it. And it was a really, really cool thing. I loved it. I have very, very fond memories of it, because one of the last things that I did when I still had my own apartment was watching this show. I used to watch it. I actually used to watch it in bed because it was more comfortable there than at my computer. So I had this little laptop, and I would watch it there, and it was really really nice and really. And the best thing about this show was, again, they wanted it to be this kind of Hell's Kitchen style thing where everyone is backstabbing and they're all trying to play the game, and I'm not here to make friends. And what ended up happening was everyone got really really close, and they all loved each other. And it was so amazing to watch all these artists were always rooting for each other. And like there wasn't any backstabbing, there wasn't any playing the game. I think like one or two people tried to play the game for a little bit in it, and one of them was actually Tristan Falcone, who plays Walnut Dongrass on Acquisitions Incorporated, the C Team. That's how she got to meet. I just realized I'm probably peaking my mic, so I'm gonna lower this just a little bit. And that's how she got to meet Mike and Jerry. Was through that show, and anyway, so it was a really really cool show, and I really really loved it, and it got me to thinking. I could totally make a show like that, but for Dungeon Masters. And what I mean by that is I would love to do a reality TV web show or something where it was, find the next great Dungeon Master. And the format, and it's never going to happen because, first of all, mental health wise, I would not have the spoons available to actually put in the work and everything that would be required to participate in it as a host, much less actually all the planning and everything that goes into it as well. But I still think it'd be super cool, and that's why I'm talking about it here, as opposed to just keeping it until I can create something myself. I'm never going to be able to create this. So if somebody steals my idea, there's nothing I can do about it, and at least someone will be making something. But so this is my idea for this next great GM thing. Probably be GM because it wouldn't be exclusively D&D, based on the based on the elimination round. But basically, what would happen is it would be broadcast on Twitch live, and you'd get a bunch of DMs together. I don't know if we would try to rent a house or something like that, or it would just be done via Zoom calls or whatever, because Zoom is the new thing now. You get a bunch of DMs together, and then we'd have a panel of 3 expert DMs. Me being one of them, because I consider myself an expert DM, and then maybe we'd get someone like Mark Holmes or Mercer, or any of the really really great, Chris Perkins, Jeremy Crawford. Probably maybe stay away from people that are directly affiliated with the Dungeons and Dragons, since it's not going to be exclusively D&D. They probably wouldn't do it unless we made it all D&D. But anyway, so we get a panel of 3 amazing, or maybe even like a rotating panel, where we have different judges that could come through depending on what the challenge is that week. And so the way it would work would be each week the DMs would be presented with a problem to solve that a DM would need to solve. Things like, combat is really, really important, and one of the kind of linchpins of combat is the creatures. So your challenge for this week is to design the most amazing boss monster you possibly can. Feel free to give them legendary actions, and it would be for a specific system. But because I'm most familiar with D&D, that's the thing that I'm basing it off of now. So you have to do this, or another one might be the dungeon dive is one of the most classic examples of, early RPG development. So we need you to create us a dungeon. Be sure to put traps in, and they would put all these parameters, and then they would have like an hour or 2 hours, or depending on the thing, maybe it's only 30 minutes, that we would broadcast live. And to do it remotely, what would be done is we would have each one of them basically streaming it. And we would just import each different stream. And so the hosts could kind of jump between streams and kind of comment, going, oh, that's really interesting. I really, really like this. And the players wouldn't be able to hear that. Kind of similar to what they do on like Iron Chef for that, where like the judges in Iron Chef are kind of watching them do their crazy stuff, and they're commenting. And every so often, Altern will go down and ask a question or something like that. But the judges get to say whatever they want, and the audience can hear it, but the chefs can't. So something like that. They'd have a challenge every week, and then at the end of the challenge, there would be a winner picked, and they would either get a prize or whatever, and then somehow 2 losers would be picked. And I haven't figured out, maybe each challenge would be a different way, but 2 losers would be picked. And so they would have until, like, let's say we did it on a Wednesday night, they would have until Tuesday night, the next Tuesday night, so the day before the next episode, they would have to take an RPG system that they've never played before, that we assign to them. We just find some random RPG system that we know that neither of the 2 people competing know or have ever played. We give it to them, and they have to basically, in that week, they have to they have to learn the system well enough for them to run a one-shot on Tuesday night with 4 players that have never played it before. Which I think for that, and I'd been throwing a bunch of ideas around about this, but I think it would be best if we had like a pool of players that we would just kind of randomly assign Tuesday night, and go, okay, so your players this week are going to be Fred, Bill, George, and Ringo on this table, and then they'd get into a Roll20 game. And they'd have to kind of teach the game on the fly and run it, because that is 100% something that DMs have to do all the time. Teach new players the system, and good DMs can kind of pick up new systems relatively easy. And I think that is an essential part of being a dungeon master, is being able to look at either an entirely new rules system, or even just like errata and modifications to rules, like what's happening with D&D now, and be able to assess and learn it as quickly as possible, and then run it for a thing. And so on Tuesday night, the 2 people that would be doing it would again stream it, and the judges would watch it live and they'd comment. And I think we would limit it to a relatively short session, like 2 hours is actually not a horrible session length. The Adventures League has been moving more towards that. A lot of conventions are moving more towards 2 hours as a session length. So I don't think that'd be horrible. For teaching a brand new game, 2 hours is really, really rough. So maybe pushing it to 3 hours, but just so it's not like overwhelmingly a long amount of time. Maybe doing 4 hours, because that's a standard thing. But, again, that would all be stuff that would be figured out in pre-production. And then at the end, the 2 dungeon masters would end their game, and they'd join a Zoom call with the judges, and the judges would talk about the things they liked and the things that they didn't like, and then they would go, you will not be mastering this dungeon. And then kick somebody off, and you keep going and going and going until there was a winner. So I think that would be an insanely fun thing. And then the winner of the whole thing, and this is another reason why Kiki can't do it, I have no money. So the winner of it like if I was really cool and I could partner with something cool, like maybe partner with Roll20 since we'd be using that, and then they would be allowed to run their own, 6-month long campaign or something on Roll20's official channel or something like that. Something cool. It would make you feel special. Stuff like that. Anyway, so I had this idea, and I think it's a really, really cool idea, and I would love to do it. And again, the kind of quote unquote funny part of it is I have a YouTube channel with 670 subscribers and a Twitch channel that gets an average of 3 people watching. So a lot of people, their first question would be, well, why the hell would we care what you think? But I'm a damn good dungeon master, thank you very much. And a damn good game master, and I regularly learn new systems and teach them to new people. So I think I would be one of the perfect judges. And then also, by doing this show, I would intentionally look for significantly more famous judges to put on it with me, just to elevate my social standing. So it would look like it's like, oh yes, and here is Matt Mercer and Mark Hulmes and Trainer Jody. And it was like, oh, I know him. Oh, I know him. Never heard of that bastard before, but he must be as good as these other people. So yes, that would be my master plan, to become a DM that everybody knows about. Anyway, so I just thought that was a really cool idea, and I would love to do it sometime. And it's never going to be something I can do because, again, my brain doesn't allow me to do fun things anymore. But I think it would be fun and cool. So that's all I'm talking about today, is this random game show, reality TV show that's never going to exist. But in the comments, let me know, would you watch a show like that where it was DMs competing against each other to prove who was the best DM? Like, I think that would be really cool. Just from, like, the different challenges, like seeing what the different maps were that they created for their dungeon crawl, or seeing, their cool monsters, or maybe their really cool encounter. Or I had like a dozen different challenges, things like, oh, well, now you need to write, a description of a layer or something that, contains these particular things, but it has to be unique or something. All these things that dungeon masters just do. Or, one where you've got to build an entire party of characters because you came to the game store and, 5 people came in wanting to play and none of them brought a character. Stuff like that. That is all stuff that I've had to do as a DM and would just be fun. So, yeah. Anyway, that's all for me today. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing tomorrow either. But Wednesday, I'm running my first Power Rangers RPG full session. We did our session 0 on Sunday. The video, or not on Sunday, last Wednesday. The video for it is actually on the YouTube channel now, so you guys can check that out. And so, yeah, to twitch.tv/TrainerJody, you can watch us play Power Rangers live with some really awesome, amazing people. So, yeah. Otherwise, that's all for me today. See you guys in the next time. Bye-bye.